This episode is brought to you today by Whitehall Mortgage, where there's a will, there's a Whitehall. Buying a home starts by getting a pre-approval, and nobody does it better than Doug in Dallas. Call them today at 570-562-7505 or apply online at whitehallmortgagefinancial.com. Hi, everybody. I'm Dave Wychak. I'm the host of the Real Estate Right Now podcast, and today I have a great episode. One of the things I talk about a lot is how can you be successful in small towns in real estate? Right? Because I think it's so much different than what's out there in these major markets, but in these like medium to small size markets. How do you win? How do you build a great career? Because these small markets, let's be honest, they have real challenges, right? And in my market, there's a couple things going on. And today I want to talk about this because what's happening here locally in Northeastern Pennsylvania, I think it's happening in small markets and medium-sized markets all across the country. I know the type of people that we have here in Northeastern Pennsylvania, there's people like this everywhere. And I just want to address some of these things. So, and what it comes down to is progress. How do we take these areas and build something together? And I say this all the time. Progress is not the enemy. It's the future. And if you do it right, you get to build it together. This is something that I hear. These are some of the things that I hear in my market all the time, and I'm betting that you hear this across the country too. There's nothing to do here, all right? Do people say that about where you live? There aren't good enough jobs in this area. I hear this place is stuck in the past, all right? And I hear concerns all the time about, our kids or our grandkids, they have to move away to find what they're looking for. I think those sayings and those words are heard in communities all across the country. But then what happens is when a new industry wants to move in, people fight it or people resist it, or they say, sure, we want change. We just don't want it here. I don't want it in my backyard. I'm in favor of this. I just don't want it here. I don't want to see it. People don't fight progress because they hate growth. People fight progress because they're afraid. All right. They're afraid of what they're going to lose. They're afraid of what they have, or I'll give you an example. So in my local area, one thing that they're talking about, we're about 2 hours north of Philadelphia. We're about 2 hours west of New York City. Something that's been talked about frequently and for a while is that they're going to build a train line from our area to New York City. And people fight it. And they say, we don't want that because we don't want the crime of the big city here in our small town. And it's like, I just want to say, like, okay, so what are you afraid of? Well, gangs and drugs, and first of all, like that's already here. But the other thing is, I say this kind of comically, but completely seriously as well. So is that the way drug dealers and gangs travel now? They travel by train? Like, is that the only way they get here? Like there's a gang or there's drug dealers and they're like, we could really move into Northeastern Pennsylvania if there was only a train line to get there. I don't buy it, right? It's just like people have fear for things that they don't understand. Another big thing that's popping up in our areas are data centers, right? People want to bring data centers to Northeastern Pennsylvania. And I'm telling you, the emotions or the strong feelings about data centers are remarkable. We don't want them here, and it's like, well, that is progress though, right? Here's the truth. You can't create more jobs or better infrastructure or better schools without welcoming something new. And I think part of it is we need to change our mindset and we have to stop thinking about what we would lose and what can we build instead. Just another personal story real quick. So about 30 years ago, they built an arena here in my hometown. And they brought in a local AAA affiliate hockey team. It was up for voting because it was going to be for public funds. And the big vote was arena yes or arena no. Believe it or not, arena no won. They still built the arena. But my grandfather at the time, when they brought this AAA affiliate in, for like the first decade they were there, he had season tickets. He loved hockey, big hockey fan. And when it came time to vote arena yes or arena no, My grandfather voted arena no. I was 17 at the time when that vote happened, and I asked my grandfather, I said, hey, Pop, you love hockey, right? And I'm probably going to go to all these games. Why would you vote arena no? And his response was, well, that's where I hunt rabbits. So he voted no for an arena because he didn't want to lose his rabbit hunting location. But, look, it's not what we can lose, it's what we can gain. You almost have to reframe the conversation about progress, right? It's not, what are we going to lose? It's what can we help build together? What can we do to keep our schools and our roads and our businesses and families thriving, right? Don't look at it as something to fear. Look at it as something that you could build together. Get involved as a community. People are more likely to support something that they feel like they're a part of. Understand the jobs that are going to be available. Understand what can be built and what the future can hold for your children and grandchildren. And then it gets a little bit easier to support those things. It's the simple fact of life. I mean, you need tax revenue for cities to thrive. And a great way to produce revenue is to bring in businesses and create employees. Start with these small wins, guys. As I said in my story about my grandfather, they did eventually build that arena. And if you just took a snapshot of what that area looked like the day they built the arena compared to what it looks like today, I mean, restaurants, shopping, hotels. I mean, that little section of town, probably thousands of full-time jobs for people. And it's been a great thing for our area. And part of it is we just have to embrace the change. The thing of it is, if we can align our identity to becoming a hotspot for these types of things, we kind of prevent some of the things that we fear, which is kids moving away and giving them a reason to stay. So when it comes to progress in your area, I think it's important to think about what can be built together. And will you have to make sacrifices? Maybe, right? Will it increase traffic? Probably. Will it be a little bit noisier? Maybe. But it's not what we're losing, guys. It's what we're gaining, right? You might have to find a new place to hunt for rabbits, but it might be something great for the community. So if you're someone that's saying those things, if you hear them, there's nothing to do here, there's no good jobs here, this place is 10 years behind the times, and I know you hear it out there because I hear it about my neighborhood too. Start embracing the future, because when these opportunities come, if they don't go to your neighborhood, they will go someplace else. But all of the good things and all of the benefits that come with that goes with those things as well. So don't fear progress, guys. And as realtors, we have to be on the forefront of this. And we have to be, I think, outspoken when it comes to these opportunities to kind of reframe the narrative and reframe the way people think about some of these new industries or new technology or new businesses that are coming into the area. And instead of looking at them as something that we have to fight or something that we have to resist, maybe it's something that, how can we work together to make this successful, to make our entire community better and stronger? Because at the end of the day, that's what everybody wants. Thanks for joining us for today's episode, everybody. If you want to hear more content, follow us at Real Estate Right Now Pod on YouTube. Once you're there, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. And if you want to follow me directly, check me out. It's Dave Wychak at Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, all the socials that you're already using.